Hey yo, what's good YouTube? It's your boy Dolo and I'm back with another hit, man. Y'all already know what's going on, man. Whole bunch of evolvement, whole bunch of growth, whole bunch of evolution. Only positivity is all I see. But let's get straight to the video, man. Today we're gonna be talking about the cost of not being average. I feel like this is a topic that goes over a lot of people's heads. Most of the time you see people in life, they go onto autopilot. And we all in a sense are under a certain level of being an autopilot. Whether one person, he waking up, you know, taking care of his dog, taking care of his schoolwork, taking care of this particular things in life right now, versus you have another person who might just be out here hustling every day. He might be slanging dope. He might be selling drugs. He might be doing certain things. He just autopilot. He stopped thinking about it. And we have to understand that when we in a world full of, we could call them NPCs, we can call them bots. And I'm gonna call them bots, bro. A lot of people is bots. A lot of people that I know, even when I talk this stuff, they can't understand because they bots. It's like a door of their mind that hasn't been opened. It sounds like I'm speaking a whole different language when it's not even that far. It's just that their own consciousness hasn't been, really touched on. It hasn't really went outside of their autopilot, their box. So it's like them going on to the same plane their whole life. They haven't really seen any other plane. They don't even understand the fact that people have other planes. They don't even understand the fact that people are living in a whole completely different other planes. They just in a plane thinking that this is just completely everything to life. And I dealt with this, bro, because I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was not always like this, but I was always outside of the box. I was always thinking, optimistic. I was always outside of thinking shit. I'm thinking whole different things, bro. I remember in 6th grade, I'm thinking there's no way as a human being, we have 10 fingers, we have 2 nostrils to breathe out of, we have 2 eyes to see. It just doesn't make sense. Like, why don't we have like 3 fingers and one person has one on this hand? Some people, they have maybe just a ball. Why do we have all certain like perfections to a certain extent? Just because your nails might not look good don't mean that they ain't to an extent made under God's image. But why do I say this? I say this to say it's going to take you to have a certain type of conscious level of thinking to not be average, and we'll see all the greats, they undergo that same thing, that they undergo that same level of kind of preparation to be something bigger. Because once you expand your consciousness, it's like you expanding the light that's within you. And we all have a certain degree of light that is within us. But the more that we are able to give to the world is probably going to be the more of a purpose that we're going to have to the world. And it doesn't always play like that. It's people who only have done positive shit their whole life that live in mountains and stuff. But so what is the cost of being average? And that is kind of scary, bro, because at the end of the day, I'm a man in this society. They'll tell us, okay, you go to work, you take care of your family, you take time on the weekends, go to your kid's soccer game, do stuff like that when you get older. And even some of y'all might be in school. What is the average? You go to school, maybe do a sport, maybe learn something in your free time, maybe clean up around the house. But then it's like, okay, that's just to be average. So if we look at it just to be average, people are gonna hold you to a certain type of, understanding. They're gonna hold you to a certain degree of you should be doing this. You're a man. You need to do this. You should step up, be in your kid's life. But me personally, growing up in an African American household with an African dad, my African dad wasn't around. And for most of my life, I sat down fighting the reason why he wasn't around, trying to understand why wasn't this man in my life? This doesn't make sense. I didn't get it, But then I seen that it was a lot bigger of a reason than I could comprehend for a long time. And oftentimes we become resentful for that. So even some of y'all might have people in your life that has somewhat neglected you to an extent, somewhat not been there for you to an extent, somewhat not been able to play that role that you think they should. Most African parents ignorant as hell. Most parents as a whole ignorant as hell. That alone feels like when you're talking to somebody, you're talking to a wall. That's not like a parent. Most people say as kids, I don't feel like you're my parent. I don't feel like you're my dad. I don't feel like you're my mom. You don't even listen to me. So with that being said, you know, we have to understand that everybody has been molded into a certain person. Everybody has underwent certain things that made them who they are. And the best thing that we could do for our own mental sanity is accept them, but also understand that some people within this life that we live are going to choose to be average, going to choose to just be that dad, you know, get their family a house, you know, maybe work for somebody their whole life and, you know, die, and then their son going to repeat, and it's going to be the same pattern. But what's the cost of that? The cost of that is, one, you never have security. At any point in your life, things could come to change. And the thing about people who don't play the average role is they're constantly taking risks. Somebody like me, I'm constantly taking risks. I don't give a damn, bro. If I see something that I think is a educated risk, I'm gonna take it without thinking, bro, because that is purely what I think is right. And at the end of the day, I know it's right because I'm not going to be average. I'm not going to sit here and try to be like the next man, being scared, trying to be secure. Whole time I'm out here missing opportunities. I'm out here missing things and missing blessings that possibly are trying to come to me. All right. So for one, security, that's where the cost of average, you know, it's a trade-off. And then two, normal and being confined to society's norms. That's what a lot of people have to understand, bro. You have to be fine with being misunderstood. A lot of y'all still don't know me, bro. A lot of people don't know me, bro. And it's completely fine with that. You know what I'm saying? People might see me online. People might have a lot to say about me. People might not like me. But I don't really care, bro, because I understand something that makes me love them even more. And it's the fact that you don't know me completely. And that's okay. And to not like somebody that you don't know says more about you than anybody. So they say, woman, you should do this. Men, you should do this. And your parents are the main ones who are going to put that on you and send you through there. So your parents telling you, you need to do this as a man, you need to do this as a woman. They've programmed subconsciously into you some type of trauma, some type of things that have caused you to perform a certain way in the society, to feel as if you're right, to feel secure, because you don't want to do the wrong thing and get caught out. It's the same thing that would happen when, you know, you leave the toilet seat up and your mom say, why the fuck you leave that toilet seat up? You know you're not supposed to leave that toilet seat up. So now everywhere you go in your life, you shutting down the toilet seat because that same thing has been punched in you so damn bad, you can't even forget it. And some of y'all, for instance, me for a long time, it was, why you being so damn loud at night? So now, it don't matter where I'm at, when night come, I get quiet. But I had to cut that shit off because that's society norms. That's society what people, nobody should be this loud. That's how they make it sound normal. Nobody should be this loud. Nobody does that. You don't do this, you know? But that's not how you find yourself, because you're finding a version of somebody else. You're finding a version of your mom. You're finding a version of your dad. So that's when I go back to being average, because anybody who's average is not themselves, because nobody's really average. Everybody in their own individuality could not be average at all, bro. It doesn't make sense. If you are you to your fullest extent, I promise you, you will see that you are a star. That's the thing that people don't understand nowadays, is that we are all so many stars on this world, so many dope individuals, so many dope creatives, so many dope just beings here. But the only thing that's holding 99% of them back is that they don't know themselves. They can't find themselves. And they're truly lost within themselves, because all that they've grabbed onto and hold on to is versions of somebody else in their lifetime. So that doesn't make sense, bro. That doesn't make sense. We have to understand, if we want to get the utmost power and the utmost purpose that God has wanted us to come down here and walk with, we must be able to know ourselves. Every ancient text will say, know thyself. Why do you need to know yourself? Because if you don't know yourself, you don't know nothing for real. A man that stands for nothing will fall for anything, the same with a woman. But, so back to that. I sat there and I wondered, okay, People right now will choose to sit here on their ass, leave their son nothing. Your daddy didn't leave you nothing. Your daddy couldn't even leave you a loaf of bread this big. He couldn't leave nothing. He couldn't even leave that, a loaf of bread. But he's gone now. In his life, he didn't do much. And what did he do? He was average. So you could see in that life of the dad who couldn't even leave a loaf of bread behind, what did he do when he was here though? He was a family man. He loved to stay around the family. He loved to be around his woman. He loved to be around the kids, and he loved to take care of his family. So we like, wow, he was like genuinely a pretty good person. But where was his downfall at? His downfall was him being around all types of shit that wasn't gonna leave nothing behind. Because at the end of the day, I could sit here, right here, talk to my woman for 7 days straight. That shit will be the most unproductive 7 days of my life. We might talk about some good topics, but as a man, we have to get up and do some shit. And even women, y'all gotta get up and do some shit. Because if we don't, we're gonna look up and see, wow, we didn't do shit. So even playing with kids, even like, I'm telling y'all, this is the cost of not being average. And a lot of people come from deep levels of poverty. I'm one of them. My family was broker than broke. From Africa, the trenches of Africa. That was broke since Africa. They come to America, that was even broke. Not as broke as then, but they came here, that was even broke for a little bit, started building. So you look, you say, damn, the only way to be able to not be broke anymore is to not be average. And so I used to wonder, damn, why is my dad not at my 3-year-old, 4 or 5, I'm 6 years old. I got my birthday party, my dad not here. Everybody's here but my dad. Family not even that big. You know, most of them not here. But come to find out, it's because he was paying the cost of not being average, bro. And that's what it is. Sometimes you gotta leave your friends. You have to leave the people that you wanna hang out with. You have to take the sacrifices that other people aren't willing to take. And you have to do all these things that people aren't willing to do simply because that's the cost of not being average. Do you wanna be a millionaire or do you wanna be a 5-figure-aire? It's 2 ways you could go about it, player. But I'm gonna tell you, that's the cost. We have to understand on this earth, we can sit here and we can wonder why people move the way they do, or we can sit here and study ourselves and study why we need to do the shit that we need to do. Because at the end of the day, some shit and a lot of shit really doesn't matter. If we don't want to be average, bro, a lot of shit does not matter. You didn't text me back, whoop-de-doo. Actually, thank you. One less person to talk to. But when I tell y'all, the most successful people that I've met in my life, they're fundamentally crazy as hell. I'm not playing. These people are actually like cuckoo. They have some loose screws. But even myself, I say, hey, if anybody in this world is not going to be average, they're probably going to be crazy. Because that's the cost. You know, right now, people want to go out. People want to party. I'm Saturday night. What am I doing? I'm going to sleep early. Why? Because I go into my Sunday, get my Sunday right, and my Sunday also is a positive feedback loop for the rest of my week, because everybody knows you have a bad Monday, you can't wait till Friday. So your whole week done been fucking something that you've been waiting just to pass through. You just going through it, waiting for that shit to be over. But yeah, that's the truth of the fact. We can't care about the security. We can't care about what society has to say. We can't care about being understood. And at the end of the day, we have to understand it's sacrifices to this. And a lot of people, bro, not gonna be willing to make the sacrifices But then you have to look up to yourself and look in the mirror and ask yourself, because even this message that I'm giving today, some people and most people, they're not going to want to do what it takes to not be average. And therefore, it's not even worth them, completely. They don't even need to think about if they want to be average or not. It's not like worth it. Most people are going to do it, bro, because it's going to take a lot. It might take you as a man not being able to be there for your kids as much as you want to. It might take, you not traveling for a few years because you have to stack up this money. It might take, you missing a lot of family events. You missing a lot of, time outside having fun with your friends at the club, at the parties. It might take you just going in the goddamn gym of life and working your ass off every single day. And if you look at every great, every legend, you will see a common trait along the lines of all of them. And that would be that they weren't average. So then you got to ask yourself, do you want to be average or do you want to be great? When you go and leave, when you leave, is that everything that leaves? Or when you leave, will it be an impact or many things that you might have left for the ones that come after you? In my opinion, I got a big heart. The people that ain't even here yet and the people that I know need me that I don't even know them yet, I'm preparing for. Because I know that deep down inside of me, I'm here for a reason. Just as I believe and know that you behind this screen are too. But it's about recognizing that reason. And just like in the ring, before the fighters go up for the fight day, they go for the little meetup. When they go and link up, some of them do some little wussy shit, act like they about to fight. I don't know exactly what it's called. But they go and they put their hands up right next to each other, face to face. That's how you got to be with the part of you that might settle for being average. Because that part of you will take you off from a lot of things that were really, really meant for you. Like I tell people all the time, God got many blessings for us, but sometimes we just not receptible to them. But if he see that we fighting, and if he see we whooping ass, best believe some things are gonna come your way that you never knew was possible. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope I left y'all with a good message. Look at yourself in the mirror after this video and ask yourself. And tell yourself, I'm not average. Don't even ask yourself, tell yourself, I'm not average and I won't be average. Because you made it to the end of the video. Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back, a round of applause. Because that says a lot about you. But peace, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get it.